Hello and welcome to Zolder for the Men's Elite World Cup Cyclo-Cross, the fifth round of this series. As we look here at the centre of the track, this is one of the easier sections of what is a technical circuit here in Zolder. Very, very cold, getting a little bit colder now as we get towards the start of this men's race. We're going to see a total of 58 riders take to the start this afternoon. 17 different nations are represented. And we will see whether we get as thrilling a race as we saw in the women's race just a little while ago. Well, it is a day that we could see some Belgian celebrations, because there is the possibility, as you can see here, that Kevin Pauwels could secure the World Cup. He is currently lying 77 points ahead of Tom Musen. The Dutchman Koen van Kessel in third place right now, another 5 points behind that of Tom Musen after the 4 rounds of the World Cup that we've had so far. So here's the start list, led there by Martin Biener of the Czech Republic. Of course, number 1 not used because Zdeněk Štýbar is the world champion, and if he rode, he would be number 1. Martin Biener was second in this race last year. As normal, a big team from Belgium. The Dutch contingent is led by Lars van der Haar, the winner of the World Cup last year. The Americans with Jeremy Powers, Jonathan Page and Robert Marion. One representative from Italy, a big Spanish team. Ian Field of Great Britain is there, the national champion. And right down to wearing number 65, Gary Milburn, riding his second World Cup for Australia, the 27-year-old. Great to see another nation here at the World Cup. And there's the previous winners. Lars van der Haar won last year. Sven Nys was the winner in 2012. And as you can see, Kevin Pauwels has won this race on 2 different occasions. Can it be his hat-trick of victories and the win of the World Cup to go with it as well? I know that Gary Milburn, who takes a start here in his second World Cup from Australia, his favourite cyclocross is down there in Newcastle. As we see here, the riders now lining up. There is number 43, Jeremy Powers, now 13th in this World Cup, riding for the United States of America. There is Kevin Pauwels, the World Cup leader. Lars van der Haar, the winner of the World Cup last year. Alongside him is Tom Musen, wearing number 12. Then we have Rob Peters. Philip Valsleben, second in the World Cup last year. And right at the end there, Koen van Kessel, wearing number 24, third in the World Cup. As the cavalry now are all behind the starting tape over there on the right-hand side. You can see the animations, the cartoon characters of Lars van der Haar. You see these all over the place. Little glimpse there of Ian Field, the Great Britain champion, tucked in on the second row. Of course, he had a great round in Milton Keynes.
Full concentration to the lights.
And the lights now are about to go out. I know that Ian's girlfriend, Annie, will be cheering him on. He caught her cold and he wasn't riding so strongly in Namur. Maybe today can be his day, because this should suit him. The charge then off the start as these riders get moving. Jeremy Powers with a very, very good start for the United States of America. And are we going to see a strong performance from him today? I must admit, we've been seeing him get better and better in these World Cups over the last couple of rounds. He was very pleased with his performance in Namur, and it's not for the faint-hearted through here as the brakes get locked on and you've got to get round that corner and accelerate out. This course is very, very fast indeed. The men's race, 28 kilometers an hour last year, and it came down to a bunch sprint of 13 riders. You see a massive crowd here in Zolder. About 15,000 people are here watching this cyclocross. And don't forget, you can join me on Twitter if you'd like to. @McCrossan is where you can join me. The initial stages of the race been taken on by Philip Valsleben, who likes to do this. He likes to go out on the attack at the front of the race and try and exert his influence. And it looks like he is going to try and do that today. Are we going to see him win a World Cup? He's promising it. So the attack happening at the front, all the riders on the wheels. I'm wondering actually if that's David van der Poel. In fact, I think it is David van der Poel who's leading. Valsleben's a little bit further back, so David van der Poel taking the lead as he goes out of that corner, infield a little bit further back, and then down the descent goes van der Poel. Lars van der Haar with a pretty good start near the front. Of course, we always used to see Niels Albert in the colours of the BKCP team here. We were so used to seeing him at the front of these World Cups. It's such a shame that he's now unable to compete with that heart condition that he has. But Niels Albert is having a real influence on the coaching of some of the riders that we're seeing at the front of these World Cups. David van der Poel then leading. In third place is Kevin Powers, looking after his interest in this World Cup. Jeremy Powers towards the front. There he is, powering through for Rafa Focus as he tries to get himself into the top 10 in a World Cup this season. David van der Poel accelerates out of there. He's tracked by Korn van Kessel in second place. Kevin Powers just has to ride an intelligent race today, and he will put himself there as the winner of the World Cup with 1 round left to race. Thanks to Slate Olsen for the little bit of a message about Jeremy Powers. And thanks to all of you for your wishes of Christmas and Boxing Day today as we see Powers go through the picture. Well, last year we got this bunch sprint to the end. We may well be seeing the same today. There is a rider who featured in the last round. That's Marcel Wildhaber. Has obviously had a little bit of technical problem. He was 6th in Namur. He led earlier on in the race and he held on. We've seen him do that before, but then fade away towards the end of the competition. But in Namur he was able to hold on. So the Swiss rider, Wildhaber, nice to see him do so well in Namur, but today doesn't look like it is going to be his day. Tom Meeuwsen now up towards the front in the yellow and blue of Telenet Ferdeye.
Tom Meeuwsen als eerst in de bocht met Lars van der Haar, dan Kevin Powers, David van der Poel.
And Lars van der Haar now takes the initiative at the front of the race. Last season it was van der Haar who won. Wildhaber still trying to make his way back towards the pits. Van der Haar took the victory last year. It was Martin Biener in second place. Stibar was in third. Valsleben was in fourth place. Rob Peters in fifth. Sven Nys in sixth place. So Van der Haar knows this circuit well, and we've seen him becoming stronger and stronger after that bout of antibiotics a few weeks ago. Van der Haar certainly looked a lot more sprightly, didn't he, in Namur? He kind of lost a little bit of the gloss when we saw him in a couple of the previous rounds. He just didn't look good. In Milton Keynes he had been suffering, and then he had that day in Milton Keynes when he was just having technical issues all the time. But Van der Haar, as you can see, he's got that jump, that sprint up these steps. A little bit windy there. You can see the German flag in the background. But Van der Haar is pushing on now through what is a little bit sandy, kind of a funny texture to the mud in that area. And Van der Haar working the body all the time. Look at that. Just trying to keep the momentum going, keep the bike powering on. Rob Peters in the orange, black and gold up towards the front as well. So if you haven't seen cyclocross before and you're just tuning in, Wildhaber finally gets to the pits. And that has been a really tough first lap for him. He's way, way out the back. Meanwhile, the race going on the drop-off. So if you haven't seen cyclocross before, these riders normally race for about an hour. It's all on time. The commissaires, the judges, will work out how fast the lap is, and then they'll calculate around about an hour of racing. So we'll start to see the lap board tick away, and we'll get an indication. Oh, a crash there as one of the riders hit the deck as he came in a little bit hot into that corner. And with the amount of mud that you have on very, very flat tyres, easy to crash like that. The opening lap then, let's take a little look as to what it's going to be. Around about the 7 minutes 40-ish, 7:37 for the opening lap, 24.89 kilometers an hour for the opening lap from a standing start. So there we are. There was the crash running into that corner. That looked like a pretty heavy one. I think it was Sasha Weber who hit the deck there. Just to compare then the opening lap, it was 8:29 was the opening lap of the women, 7:37 was the opening lap of the men. The women averaging 22.35 kilometers an hour, the men averaging 24.89. There is Lars van der Haar then, as he goes out and takes a clean bike. Sasha Weber was the rider who hit the deck. There he is in the green on the left. He takes a fresh bike. And now we have this front group of 9 or 10 riders. Lars van der Haar leading Musen right on the wheel. Rob Peters is the rider in the orange helmet there. Korn van Kessel is in 4th place as Van der Haar powers his way up the climb over this bridge on this very famous motor race circuit. The fans in this area have been drinking all morning, and it's getting louder and louder. When you go into hospitality in these Belgian cyclocrosses, it's incredible. Any of the European cyclocrosses, just what it is like. It's absolutely incredible as to how noisy it is. I haven't been in today. Last in Namur, I went into the hospitality area, and there are hundreds of people in there, all eating, drinking away, getting ready, and they just want to cheer these riders on. Of course, cyclocross is live on Belgian TV all weekend. These riders are massive stars, and you can hear how noisy it is now as they race their way through the corners. Hopefully we've got all the little technical audio issues we had in the previous race out the way, and you're able to hear the atmosphere, and you're able to hear exactly what is going on. Van der Haar leads again as he accelerates his way out of that twist and turn. A lot of tree roots and everything to encounter. And Kevin Powell's looking like he is riding strongly, doesn't he? These static cameras that you can see here, where the riders are just whooshing through, adding a little bit more of a dimension to the race as Van der Haar leads Musen, who's got a look of pain on his face. And now the attack comes from the German champion, Philip Valsleben, who takes the initiative at the front. 5th in Milton Keynes, 2nd in the World Cup last year. Valslaven's a rider who doesn't like the tempo to slow down too much. He likes to keep the tempo on. He was third in Namur on the podium that time, behind Pauwels and Van der Haar. Musen was in 4th place, Van Kessel in 5th, Veldhaber was in 6th. He's not going to make the podium today. And all these changes of road surface, it makes the choice of tyre pressure and everything else really difficult. See all the guys in the backdrop there with the horns, the Viking helmets on. It's such a great atmosphere. Boxing Day cyclocross is where it's at. There is no doubt whatsoever, as Valslaven leads Van der Haar, Musen, David van der Poel, Korn van Kessel. In the white is Kevin Pauwels. In the orange is Rob Peters. Through the pits area, all these riders have 3 bikes, many sets of wheels. The jet washes are to hand so that the bikes can be cleaned off. And if you've ridden a mountain bike, which of course has the big thick tyres on them, and you think, do you know what, I like riding my road bike and I fancy having a go at this. These cyclocross bikes, not too expensive to get started. You can choose to have either the cantilever brakes. You can see David van der Poel riding here at the front. Van der Haar has a little bit more technology in the disc brakes that he's riding today, and he generally does ride the disc brakes. But they're magnificent bikes to ride, just about 32mm tyres, knobbly tyres. You have your tyre pressure nice and low. And you can just race through the trails, race through the tracks. Not as heavy as a mountain bike, so you can shoulder the bike and run with it as well. And it's a great workout for an hour or so. Not maybe going at the tempo these guys are going at, but it is a fantastic sport. Over in the United States of America, particularly in places like Oregon, a massive sport now with hundreds of riders taking part in cyclocross every weekend. And as I said earlier, they're pretty much a Belgian national sport. Through a wall of sound as they make their way up the steps. Van der Haar was previously took part in gymnastics, which is why he's such a good rider. In terms of his agility on the bike, he's quite happy to let the bike just move all over the place. He's a very good runner. Once he turned his hand to cyclocross, though, he just won pretty much everything at under 23 and junior level. You can see the way he just banks the bike over, takes his foot out, lets the bike slide a little bit, knows how much he can let the bike go to let the grip take. And Valslaven having to take out his foot out of the pedal there. Just looking through to see where Jeremy Pauwels is. He was riding really well at the front here, but he seems to have disappeared out of the front group. I haven't got any update on him on the course, so I'm just going to try and pick out as we go through the commentary box here, because I know many of you are big fans of Jeremy Pauwels. Let's just take a look here. I don't see him in the top places as they come through that corner. But as we go across the line that time, 7 laps of racing to go. And the lap time that time was 8:09 with 7 laps to go. Lars van der Haar then going on the attack, using his road speed. Valslaven unable to close the gap that time, and Van der Haar now accelerates and goes away. As Valslaven is left to be the rider to try and bring this one back. Well, he really has used that attack on the tarmac to very good effect. He decides not to take a bike this time, and I think Val Slaben was thinking about taking a bike, and then he thought, no, do you know what, I'm going to have to go this time and try and stay with the move that's happening. Radomir Simjunek was the rider we just caught a glimpse of in the yellow and red. Riding for the Czech Republic, he rides for the team of Corendon Quadru. His father, of course, was a fantastic cyclocross rider. I just think I saw Jeremy Powers twisting his way through one of the technical sections. But Van der Haar is on the move now. Well, I haven't seen Lucy Garner here today. She's normally with Lars. She might be sitting watching at home rather than being at Zolder, the double world junior champion on the road. Lars' girlfriend now lives in the Netherlands, learning Dutch very well as well. Good to see her in Milton Keynes a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, and catch up with her. But Van der Haar here in Belgium, his reception is not always great. Some of the fans give him a really hard time, just purely because he's a Dutch rider riding Belgian cyclocross. So he gets an awful lot of jeering to try and put him off, but he's learning to deal with it very well. As Val Slaben goes through that turn, tracked immediately by Tom Musen. Musen won the a round of the World Cup last year. We just saw Simjunek trying to close in on the leaders now. And here we are. This is the run through the second place. Val Slaben, Musen, Van Kessel. I think Powles is just riding an intelligent race. But Van der Haar is absolutely motoring, isn't he? Look at the speed as he went along that little bit of single track. The speed at which he is moving right now is very impressive. Last year he dominated this cross. He was certainly riding strongly in the group and then ended up winning it. But remember, this race is never over until it's over. Remember the women's race just a little bit, half an hour or so ago. It looked like Marianne Vos had the race absolutely in the bag, and then suddenly front wheel puncture and the whole race completely changed for the world champion. Simjunek now has made the junction to the front as Kevin Powles decides to take a bike, so he goes into the pits on the right-hand side. Nice clean machine, jumps onto that now. Meanwhile, this rider is not looking around at all. Maybe the fact of being ill a few weeks ago and having to have an enforced layoff has meant that Van der Haar, in the second part of the season, particularly when we're getting towards the World Championship time, which will be in Tabor in the Czech Republic, towards the back end of January, beginning of February, this could play into this young rider's hands. And I know he so dearly wants to wear the World Championship bands for the next season. It's interesting the way they're taking a slightly different line, these riders. Some choosing to take the top section, some going down to the bottom of that adverse camber, as Musen now leads the chase to try and come back to Lars Van der Haar. Tom Musen always looks like he is firmly on the limit. He is always got his mouth wide open, a pained expression on his face. Other riders have that kind of poker look about them. They don't look like they're too concerned, but Heusden always looks like he is absolutely full throttle. Onto the steps then, as Heusden leads Van der Poel. Simionek, following Simionek is Valsleben, but Van der Haar is hardly even getting off the machine. Looks like his gap is extending, and Heusden this time decides, right, really got to stamp and try and close the gap a little bit, and really putting some riders into a bit of difficulty that time up that rise. Look at the way he just kicks out the back wheel round that camber, nearly hits the little bit of padding on the left-hand side as we look. Van der Haar takes his foot out. There's Sasha Webber in the green. Still haven't seen Jeremy Powers. I caught a glimpse of one of the ZZPR team going through the picture, but as we make our way down towards the completion of another lap, it is Lars van der Haar who leads, and he looks around to see what sort of advantage he has on the rest of the field. 8:09 was his last lap. Let's see what the time is going to be this time. His opening lap 7:37. Van der Haar resting his arms as he goes through with 6 laps of this Zolder cyclocross to go. 22:39 with 3 laps completed.
6 laps to go, riders.
And just glancing my way back through the group to see who is here. As you can see, they're all lined out. And there's little groups merging all over the place now. Well, that was a pretty fast lap from Lars van der Haar. And Heusden is just saying to David van der Poel, come and do some pace making here. We've got to work together to bring this rider back as Rob Peters makes the back of the group. And he drops in there. In fact, it's Jens Adams who has now made the back of the group, a teammate of Rob Peters, as Vasco's Golden Palace team. So Jens Adams now in the group. We'll run through them again for you. David van der Poel, Tom Heusden, followed him is Kevin Powers in the white, leader of the World Cup. Behind Kevin Powers is Korn van Kessel, Radomir Simionek, Valsleben and Jens Adams, the makeup of the chasing group. I'm just working through Lars van der Haar's last lap, and if my calculations are correct, he's just done a lap of 6 minutes and 53 seconds compared to his opening lap of 7:37, his second lap of 8:09. And if that's the calculation is correct, which I don't think it's incorrect, then van der Haar is just, that's why everyone else is suffering. He's absolutely motored that third lap. Kevin Powers then on the front of the race. What a great series he's had in this World Cup. Twice second place, twice first place, unbeaten for the last 2 rounds. So he opened up with a second place in Valkenburg, a second place in Koksijde. He then won in Milton Keynes. He took the victory in Namur on Sunday. And now he is heading towards this World Cup victory. Martin Biener goes through the picture, who was second last year, as Kevin Powers accelerates along this little track with Van der Poel on his wheel, trying to come back now to Lars van der Haar. When I was talking to Van der Haar in Milton Keynes, he felt that he didn't feel confident that the World Cup was within his grasp, so he was just going to focus on trying to win as many races as he could and head towards the World Championships after he'd been ill. So it looks like that is playing out now. Simjonek accelerating over that bridge, man-made bridge across the road, as Kevin Powers now goes on the attack, and Heusden is trying to shut the gap on the World Cup leader. Kevin Powers twice on the podium, or twice as the winner of this Zolder World Cup. He won it in 2009 and 2011. So Kevin Powers knows this circuit very, very well indeed. He knows where to make his move to try and secure this World Cup today.
Maar toch krijgt hij te maken met Kevin Powers, die daar in de weg te zien was. Aan het tussenpunt even kijken.
Just in terms of the point scale on this World Cup, the points go down to 50th place.
De klok laten stilstaan en het is
The winning rider gets 80 points, 70 for second place, 65 for third. And then so on. If you want information on the way that the points are done and everything else, go to uci.ch, click on UCI World Cup Cyclo-Cross, and in there, all the resources you need to know exactly what is going on with the UCI World Cup. Everything you need, all the results, the standings, the analysis is there for you to get. Oh, Van der Haar made a little bit of a mistake going down that descent. He was going so quick. Looked like he caught a rut over there on the left-hand side of the track that was carrying him a little bit of a way that he didn't want to be going. But somehow he managed to hold that one. There is Van der Poel wearing number 25, Korn van Kessel, as we hit the steps, and Kevin Van der Poel almost trips over that bottom step, which is causing these riders a few problems today. In both the men's and the women's race, we're seeing riders just having a little bit of a problem. Kevin Powers sprinting his way up. Behind him is Van der Poel and Valsleben, but Van der Haar has got the measure of this. And there is just no one anywhere close to him, but Powers is starting to make a little bit of a move. And I think Simon Burney might be right that it's Tara Malkats who is in the group, not Simjonek, behind these riders. But now this is starting to split up a little bit, and it's Powers wearing number 11 who is trying now to close the gap on this man, the Dutch champion, who again is coming around to complete another lap. We'll see what his lap time is this time. He opened up with 7:37, then 8:09, and if the clock was stopped at the right time there, I'd made it 6:53, but that's a very, very fast lap. 5 laps to go then for this rider, Lars van der Haar. Kevin Powers behind him is closing the gap a little bit. And it was a 7:29 lap that time. Another fast lap at over 25 kilometers an hour. And the gap is only 12 seconds now. Valsleben crosses the line in 3rd place, looks around to see the group whose momentum has gone out a little bit now. And the next rider crosses the line there is Tara Malkats, followed by Van Kessel, Van der Poel. And it is Jens Adams in the orange. I think Martin Biener may well. Yeah, there he is. He's in 9th place now. And this is the next group on the track. So that chasing group led by Tara Markatz, as we look at Van der Haar, who now knows he's got 12 seconds of an advantage. So now he's going to start sprinting and opening up the gas a little bit to see whether he can accelerate again and open up his advantage on the fast chasing World Cup leader, Kevin Pauwels. You really have to admire the way these riders can just ride at this sort of tempo. Look at the wind blowing here. It's freezing cold. And they're going on and off different road surfaces through the mud, and yet they can still ride at a tempo of 25 kilometers an hour as an average speed. Which is what? 15 miles an hour if you like to work in miles per hour. As an average speed around this circuit for an hour of racing, including running, mounting, dismounting the bike, everything else, and they're still riding at that sort of speed. It's so impressive to watch. Last week when we finished in Namur, Kevin Pauwels had the whole crowd cheering his name on the podium. They absolutely love this rider. He's very quietly spoken, doesn't speak much English at all, so we always get little translations from him. But the crowd absolutely love him. As a note today, some of you wondering where Sven Nys is. He's not racing today. Sven has got a few little problems going on in his mind right now with his form and everything else, and he's gone away to have a little bit of a break, and I hope that we see Sven Nys back here and racing, hopefully in Heusden-Zolder for the next round of the World Cup. Because every World Cup with the rider of his impressive palmares is great to have in the field. Last week in Namur, I was lucky enough to be picked up to be taken to the race by Erwin Verwecken, of course, who was a previous world champion, and it's great to get his insight as to what he was thinking about Sven Nys and how he's doing. And Erwin was saying, well, of course, the young riders, they go so quick off the start that it's just the human body. At the age of what Sven is now, 37, 38 years of age, he's going to be slower off the start. And when these young guys like Van der Haar and the others accelerate like that, you've just got to be able to hold and keep your body going until you're warmed up, and then you can start to accelerate. But if you have any technical issues or there's anything going on in your head at all, then you are at a total disadvantage to the rest of the younger riders. But he, of course, hopes that we see Sven Nys back and racing in Heusden-Zolder. He generally will just go away, go to the sunshine, train. He trains so hard. The amount of hours these riders do on the road in the build-up to a World Cup cyclocross and super prestige season is incredible. As many hours as a road rider does. And then Sven will hopefully come back and he'll be competitive in the World Championships, which will be in the Czech Republic, in Tabor. We'll be bringing you those live. And I think I'm right in saying, I hope I'll be joined by Simon Burney, who was the promoter of the Milton Keynes round of the World Cup cyclocross, to bring his own unique analysis and insight into the racing in Tabor. Tara Markatz leading round that little turn, being chased there by Van der Haar. He's just flat out down there, isn't he? Left foot out of the pedals, leaning forward. Pauwels taken a similar line this time to Lars van der Haar. He takes his left foot out just to steady himself a little bit as van der Haar goes sprinting up the steps. So if you're just joining me, just to give you the update then, Lars van der Haar leads for the Netherlands. Second place is Kevin Pauwels of Belgium, the World Cup leader. Third place, Philipp Walsleben, the German champion. And there's a little bit of daylight now between these riders. So right now we're still at the same top three that we had last week in Namur. It was Pauwels who took the honours in Namur. It was van der Haar who was in second, Walsleben in third. This time a switch around between the front two with Walsleben in third place again this time. In terms of the overall World Cup lead, Pauwels leads 77 points ahead of Tom Musen, who is being washed away a little bit here. Korn van Kessel in third, 77 points between Pauwels and Musen. Another 5 points to Korn van Kessel. Walsleben, if he carries on like this, would close up on Korn van Kessel and could be moving into third place. But van der Haar is on 210 points, 4 points behind Walsleben. And the difference between the first and third place today is 15 points. So we could be seeing van der Haar move further up the standings. 4 laps to go now as he crosses the line, and we'll see what the gap is this time. Captions just coming up and going very, very quickly. I think that was a 7:25 lap, 25.56. And the gap is around about the same as it was last lap. Well, Tara Markats is starting to close up on Philipp Walsleben. Korn van Kessel is on his wheel. And I haven't caught a glimpse of Jeremy Pauwels for a little while for American fans of Jeremy Pauwels. Van der Poel dropping back a little bit. Jens Adams is going to be next across the line. On his wheel is Martin Biener, second last year. On his wheel is, as we go back here to Kevin Pauwels, 12 seconds now the deficit. Can he close the gap? And they're just saying, come on, let's do some work. See if we can share the pacemaking here. 59 seconds to the chasing group, 118 to that group that we've just seen. Here is Kevin Pauwels then. So far, 2 first places, 2 second places in this World Cup. Heading at this moment in time towards another second place and securing the World Cup with only 1 round left to race. The Belgian fans will celebrate with him tonight if he can secure it today. His closest rival is Tom Musen, who right now is being washed away and is further on down the track. Van der Haar just looks like he is tempoed down a teeny little bit now. Maybe just saving himself for a big acceleration on the final couple of laps. 4 laps of racing to go. And Walsleben now being caught by Tara Markats. Are we going to see him on the podium today? Van Kessel just behind. Korn van Kessel's had a great campaign so far this season. 6th in Milton Keynes, 3rd in Valkenburg. When I spoke to him last weekend in Namur just before the start, he said this race suits him a lot. He'd be holding on in Namur and then looking to make a big charge in this race today to try and put himself on the podium. But Van Kessel's got a lot of riders round about him. Third overall in the World Cup, be looking to capitalise on that if he can, as Van der Haar goes again over this bridge and makes his way back across this Zolder circuit. This is the battle for third place. Valsleben in the white as the German champion, Tara Markatz in the green and yellow, and Korn Van Kessel sitting in third place in that trio. Van der Haar now, as you can see in the backdrop, no one really too close to him. Kevin Powles, I'm looking at him, he's dropping back a little bit as he goes through this little section which has been set up with the barriers, making them take some left and right hand turns. Another rider coming back to this trio who are in third place as Van der Haar accelerates again.
Lang mee in die voorste gelederen. En nu begint de vermoeidheid zich te laten gevoelen door het oude broertje van...
Well, right now I don't see the British champion and I don't see the American champion up in the top places so far. Van der Haar goes out of sight, having pedalled very nicely across the top of that adverse camber, making pretty short work of that. Kevin Powles, I'd have to say that Marianne Vos was riding, I'll get in trouble now, but I think Marianne Vos was riding that camber better than any of the men that we've seen so far. She was out, she had that corner absolutely nailed, just powering her way around the corner, cornering on it, and then sprinting over the top. Looks like Valsleben is deciding to now sit on the wheels if he can. Kevin Powles, it's Van der Haar's animation there at the side of the track. Kevin Powles looked for a while like he was going to come back to Lars Van der Haar, but I'm thinking now that that is looking more and more unlikely as this race continues. Kevin Powles then from Ekeren in Belgium, heading towards the possible win in this World Cup. 30 years of age. The Belgian fans will go completely nuts if he wins this one. He was a junior world champion in 2002, an under-23 world champion in 2004, and right now, if he can finish here, he will be the World Cup winner if he finishes in second place here. He's had a fantastic season. And the crowd are just urging him on now to bring home this victory. Tara Markatz making his way over that little rise. Van Kessel will want to secure this third place overall as we go towards the 3 laps to go point, and Van der Haar sprinting his way down the straight with 3 laps remaining. Another rider trying to get across to these 3 riders as Van der Haar is going out of the finishing area. 7:27 was his lap time, 25.45 kilometers an hour as Powles goes across the line there, 25 seconds down. He loses 13 seconds on Lars Van der Haar in that lap. So Van der Haar's lap time, 7:37, 8:09, 6:53. I'm not 100% sure about that one, but it was when he opened the gap up. 7:29, 7:25, 7:27 is the lap times of Lars van der Haar over the 6 laps that we've seen. And to give you an idea of the comparison of the women, it was 8:29, 8:31, 8:36, 9:03 were the lap times of Marianne Vos. Here is the chasing trio as they look around. Looks like Vermeesch and Adams with Martin Biener are all there in that little trio. Rob Peters, Sasha Webber are the next riders to cross the line. Riders having problems with their shoe plates. Well, Van der Haar now has extended his advantage on the rest of the field. It's funny how David van der Poel has a very similar style to Niels Albert, who used to ride with his white glasses pushed down a little bit, the cap turned up. As they come out of the pits, and clean bikes for Jens Adams in the orange. Just twisting and turning, checking the line, going through the different cambers, the different ruts, making sure that when the tyres hit the tarmac, they don't slide. Impressive ride here by Kevin Pauwels. If he finishes like this, he'll pick up 70 points and he will have an unassailable lead in this World Cup competition. Well, if Van der Haar continues to ride like this over the next few races, then who's to say he couldn't be the world champion? It's a display of sheer speed and total dominance by this young rider from the Netherlands, who is making everyone else look steady on this course. And they're going pretty rapidly, but he is just opening up the advantage all the time. Kevin Pauwels on his Ridley cyclocross bike, back downhill. Sponsors of so many of the top cyclocross riders. And it looks like Van der Haar is choosing to take the top line through there so he can safely get through that little chicane bit. Well, thanks to all of you for all your messages. At Macrossan is where you can join me. I know many of you have joined me on Twitter. And Lars van der Haar, obviously yesterday, didn't eat as much Christmas dinner as everyone else did, because he is absolutely flying.
Onder elkaar uitvechten, het zou best kunnen. We zijn nog wel een tijdje verwijderd van die laatste ronde, maar
he looks so impressive, doesn't he? He's just in a world of his own right now. There is nobody anywhere close to him as Van der Haar goes sprinting around that corner and actually nails that one totally. And that was an impressive little turn through there. Very similar to the way Marianne Vos rode that corner. Just not slowing down at all. The race is all about second place now, and third, Kevin Pauwels sprinting his way around. Well, Van der Haar has not been on this dominant form for a few weeks, but now he is sending out a clear message to everybody else. I'm back, and now you better start to worry. As Van der Haar goes round that corner, he's looking down. I think he's got a technical problem. Let's not talk too soon as he bounces the bike. And Van der Haar has now got a problem. Well, this is it. We thought everything was okay, and Van der Haar now has got a chain come off. He looks around. The chain bounced off. He went down that normal line he's been taking, and now he doesn't have the acceleration into the steps, so he's having to really work hard. Well, let's not talk too soon about races being over, because Kevin Pauwels is now able to close up a little bit on Lars Van der Haar. Cyclo-cross, anything can happen. Well, he bunny hopped the bike. He tried to shake the chain back on, but it didn't go. We think back the last few weeks, there's been many of these riders have had problems with chains coming off. Look at this, here we are. Chain comes, jams. He has to get off, he has to right it, and he's lucky because some of the riders who've had this problem have taken ages to get the chain back on. He manages to do it. He even has time to look around to see where Kevin Pauwels is. And now he'll just calm himself down. He'll try and relax as he goes through that really wet section, and Pauwels will have closed up. And if Pauwels sees Van der Haar in front of him, then he'll start to close up. He'll get a bit more motivation, because right now he's in no man's land. Happy to sit in second place, focusing on the World Cup, as Van der Haar comes round to complete another lap. Van der Haar now sprints his way down the finishing straight. Look at this. He's in the lead, but he's just displaying pure speed, pure power as he comes through to complete lap number 7. But he wants to get himself out of this finishing area before Pauwels comes round the corner. But he does. He comes round the corner now. 7:45 was the lap time, his slowest lap, which is not a surprise. And Pauwels now sees Van der Haar in front of him. What is the gap going to be? It was 25 seconds last time. This time it's going to be 21. So despite the technical problem, Van der Haar only loses 4 seconds on the time of Kevin Pauwels. Well, a very cold day in Zolder, Boxing Day, as Van der Haar takes a clean bike. He hardly even put his feet on the ground as he got off the bike there. One big jump, catches the bike, jumps back on again. He's on a mission. 1:08 to the next group on the track, led by Tara Markatz. 2 laps of racing to go for our leader in this World Cup here in Zolder. Martin Biener, the next rider to cross the line. And further on back, we look and we can see the likes of Sasha Weber and Rob Peters and other riders who are in these chasing groups. So Van der Haar looking across all the time. He wants to make sure that he can't be seen. Powers his way downhill, lets the bike just flow and slide, doesn't alter its track at all. The big question now is who's going to finish third. If we look at the overall World Cup, Van Kessel, who is the rider in the yellow here, and Val Slaben are 4 points between them in the World Cup, and Van Kessel's in third and Val Slaben is in 4th. And in terms of where they are in the positions, there are 5 points between every place. down to the top 6 riders. So, if Valsleben beats Van Kessel here, he will move into 3rd place in the World Cup. Meanwhile, there is no one able to go with the power, the speed, the technical ability of Lars van der Haar. As Kevin Powles goes down through this little track. He looks like he just wants to safely get to the finish of this race, win the World Cup, and then worry about the final round with no stress whatsoever.
Kevin Powles is onbereikbaar geworden voor deze groep. Want die rijden 45 seconden achter hem aan was.
Downhill then for Kevin Powles. He's worked so hard to get to this level of form, to try and win this World Cup title that he so dearly wants. He beat Van der Haar in Namur, and in the last few main cyclocrosses that we see across Belgium, he hasn't been riding. He hasn't been riding all of them, but in Essen he was in 4th place on a day won by Wout van Aert. He's chosen not to ride every single round of the super prestige level races. As Van der Haar goes round that corner a little bit more carefully. He won the Grand Prix Hassel on the 6th of December. But he hasn't tired himself out too much. He's kept his form, he's kept his momentum, and he's made sure that he has been on top form when it's mattered. So Lars van der Haar heading along the section he had the problem on last time. Looks down, looks at the chain.
Dus zijn puntentotaal gaat vrij laag liggen achter de wedstrijd van vandaag.
So this group look like they are pretty much fighting it out for 3rd place. They are working their tactics out now. A very different race to last year's race in Zolder. And Valsleben's had a little bit of an issue here as he goes running all the way along the track, but he looks like he's going to stay in contact with the rest of the group. As Van der Haar uses his shoulders and his arms to power his way up there, just keeping the bike going forward. Van Kessel now hits the front of this quartet. Tara Malkat's right on his wheel. Valsleben has recovered, and Van der Poel sitting there in 4th place. So if you're just joining us then, this is the situation. Lars van der Haar is the leader of this World Cup cyclocross here in Zolder on the famous motor race circuit, being chased by the World Cup leader. Last year, Van der Haar won the World Cup overall. He won in Valkenburg, he won in Tabor. He was the winner in Zolder. He won the national championships of the Netherlands, and in fact, he's won that for the last 2 seasons. He was the under-23 national champion and the world under-23 champion in 2011 and 12. As Van der Haar comes back round now to complete another lap. Last lap now for Lars van der Haar. 1 hour of racing completed. As he sprints away, and I think Kevin Powles this time will be over the 21 seconds deficit that he had on the previous lap. You can see him just in the background. Didn't get Lars van der Haar's lap time that time, so we'll have a quick look at it. It was 7:37 again, so he's back to an equivalent lap of his opening first lap on the course. 30 seconds now the deficit, so Pauwels is not going to catch Lars van der Haar unless he has an issue. So the lap times were 7:37, 8:09, 6:53, 7:29, 7:25, 7:27, 7:45, and now we've settled back to 7:37. And this man has just got to do one more lap, the rider in white, and he will be the World Cup leader for this season. It will all come down to Heusden-Zolder to decide the minor places, but Kevin Pauwels will ride in the white kit and as the World Cup winner, not as the World Cup leader. Valsleben then leads this group of riders across the line, with Korn van Kessel in the yellow and blue of Telenet Fedea. When Lars van der Haar is on form like this, you just have to sit back and marvel at how good he is. The next group crossing the line then, led there by number 14 in the Golden Palace colours, Rob Peters. And further on back, Marcel Meisen was the rider who just crossed the line there. I still don't see Jeremy Powers up towards the front here. Bart Wellens crosses the line. And meanwhile, van der Haar continues with this amazing performance today. Stunning to see. That was a still shot of one rider about to go around that twist and turn. Here we are back with Valsleben, Van Kessel, Tara Malkats. The battle for third place continues. On the back is David van der Poel. He just looks so much quicker than anyone on this course by a massive margin. Lars van der Haar has put anyone's Christmas present dream of winning a World Cup completely in the bin right now, because he has just gone out and destroyed the opposition. He is absolutely cruising his way around this course, and no one is getting anywhere close to him. It's a display of proper dominance of cyclocross racing. We're seeing such a rich crop of youngsters now coming into cyclocross, with Lars van der Haar and of course Wout van Aert and Mathieu van der Poel, the two youngsters at under 23 level, who actually have ridden some of the super prestige level races, and they have won those against this opposition. So when that all comes together and they're not under 23 riders, we're going to see some incredible racing. Nigel van der Poel just in the centre of the track there. There's a few notable stars around this Zolder circuit today. We saw Andre Greipel earlier on, just enjoying being here at the Cyclo-Cross in the middle of the winter, as he gets ready, of course, for the start of his road season. Not long now until road racing begins, and cyclocross, of course, a little bit of an overlap, and track racing carrying on all the time during the winter months in Europe. As van der Haar goes up that rise for the final time, makes his way across that difficult section, and goes round the corner and out of sight as the leader. Well, Lars van der Haar opened up his campaign in this World Cup to try and defend his lead or his title. He won in Valkenburg, and he had that bad day on the second in Coxhead. He couldn't ride, he was ill, he came back from Milton Keynes, he'd been on antibiotics, and he finished 4th on that great circuit that many riders have said could be a world championship in the future. And then last time in Namur he was 2nd. It's just that big gap in the second round of the World Cup in Koksijde, which has left Lars van der Haar with no chance of winning this title overall.
Dan zitten er helemaal voor hem op. Maar de strijd voor plaats 3 met David van der Poel zowaar. Terug in de running. Van Kessel, Walslepen die naar voren schuift. Walslepen.
So Kevin Pauwels, if he stays like this, will end up on 370 points. And Lars van der Haar would be on 290. ...280 points, sorry. So the gap would not be closable on the final round, even as Lars van der Haar managed to win this final round. Down the descent. Kevin Pauwels now on his way up the climb. Pauwels has had a great time as we now see Lars van der Haar go round the corner for the final time. What a display of fantastic cyclocross racing. He pulls a wheelie. This will put his morale back absolutely sky high. Lars van der Haar of the Netherlands, the Dutch champion, wins in Zolder. That's an exceptional performance, a display of sheer talent. Here we go then. As Kevin Pauwels is going to come round the corner. Pauwels then is going to take 70 points, or put him on 370 with 1 round to go. And actually, if you work it out, he crosses the line. A fantastic performance by Pauwels today. And we're going to see now Tara Marquardt sprinting into the line. Who's going to take 3rd place? And it looks like it is going to be Koen van Kessel who takes 3rd place. Walslepen coming in now. Behind him is David van der Poel. Sascha Webber's there in the green. Martin Biener having finished 2nd before. And the top 10, Jens Adams crossing the line there. Rob Peters is next. And the next groups of riders making their way into the finish line. And Arnouts now crosses the line in 15th place. Tom Musen, well, not been his day, has it? Way far back. He was in 2nd place overall in this World Cup. But Tom Musen has got a way to go now to the finish line. Here he goes. He's going to be outside the top 15 riders today. Lars van der Haar pulls a wheelie. Now, it's possible, of course, that van der Haar and Pauwels could end up tied on points at the end of the 6 rounds. So Pauwels now, by the fact that van der Haar has won that round, means that Pauwels could, and there is Jeremy Powers now, as we just look in to see him cross the line. He'll be in the top 20 riders. He'll be 18th, further on down. But it is possible now with van der Haar, the way he's ridden, that those 2 riders could end up equal on points if Kevin Pauwels had a terrible round and didn't go and score any points whatsoever, which is very unlikely. Jeremy Powers 18th. So Kevin Pauwels is pretty much secured the World Cup win, but he could be beaten if he had a terrible day, but it's very unlikely. But we will go to the final round just to work the points out. Further on down then, as we join up with Martin Haring from Slovakia. So we will go to the final round in Hoogerheide with the 2 riders there separated by 80 points in total. And Kevin Pauwels just needs to ride round, score some points, and he will be the winner of the World Cup. So he goes in as the leader, but any points will mean that he will be the winner. Even 1 point for 50th place, and he'll be the winner of the World Cup. Here's the highlights then. David van der Poel leading at the start of the race. Tom Musen was looking good at this point. This is van der Haar taking the lead, starting to set the tempo. And Val Slaben at this point was pretty active. He goes through to try and extend, but at this point, this was the big attack of Lars van der Haar. And everyone looked round at each other. He went on the tarmac, and then at this point, just a couple of seconds, and suddenly the race was over, and van der Haar was totally on his own. Here's the chase with Kevin Pauwels. Musen was still here at that point. And then Pauwels decided to go on the attack to try and get across to Lars van der Haar. He got within 12 seconds of the young Dutchman. And I think this is the point in the race when we saw Lars van der Haar have that chain problem. Kevin Pauwels closing up, getting within 21 seconds at this point. But then van der Haar started to go away again. The World Cup leader looking good so far this season. 2 wins, 3 second places. And I think in terms of comeback, that would give him the World Cup anyway if they ended up equal on points. So van der Haar at this point, a chain problem, but he didn't panic. He just got on with the job in hand, changed bikes. How many steps was that in the pits to change his bike? And he raced through to take his 2nd win in the World Cup this season. Pauwels in 2nd place. And the sprint between Korn van Kessel. And I'm just looking at terms of Korn van Kessel's points tally now. He will score another set of points, and here is the unofficial result. Lars van der Haar the winner, and there's the run through the top 20. Jeremy Powers there in 18th place. Further on down for the first Italian rider in 25th, Brian Falsaschi. Clement Lotellery in 30th. You may remember him as a rider who won the King of the Mountains in Paris-Nice in 2008, I think it was, 2009 maybe. But the standings now are like this. Kevin Powers leads, 370 points. Lars van der Haar, 290. Korn van Kessel, 283. Val Sleben into 4th with 269. And then the rest of the top 10 made up with Belgian riders. Here he is, Lars van der Haar.
Second victory in the World Cup after Valkenburg, now in Heusden-Zolder, and it was a nice victory.
Yeah, for me it was a beautiful victory. Yeah, I've been in a good shape again, and I just needed that little bit of luck to finish it off in the last race. Every time there was something, and today I almost thought it was going to happen again with my chain, but in the end I was strong enough to hold it off.
The difference between you and the rest, it was quite huge.
Yeah, I just felt really good and really strong, and I saw an opportunity when Kevin was a little bit behind when we were gone with 4. So I thought, I hoped that they were going to ride, but they didn't do anything. And then I thought, let's just try it, let's just go and make a real attack. Not do that often, so this time I did it.
Je hebt er een lange dag alleen van gemaakt, hè? Was dat een berekend risico? Want het was niet zo makkelijk, denk ik.
Nee, het was een zware wedstrijd. Het was eigenlijk zwaar op stukken dat je het niet verwacht. Eigenlijk op de stukken dat je terugreed was eigenlijk het zwaarst. Dat je de wind tegen en een beetje zuigend gras. En daar vond ik voor mijn gevoel de zwaarste stukken. En ja, alleen dan zit je best wel kapot.
Je hebt dan op een bepaald moment na 3 ronden een 15-tal seconden voorsprong op Kevin Powers. Die consolideert dat, komt een eentje dichterbij. En dan gaat nog eens die gas open bij jou.
Ja, ik dacht eigenlijk dat hij sneller ging komen. Dus ik was een beetje aan het inhouden en een beetje aan het herstellen. En toen kwam ik weer de tweede keer post. En toen hoorde ik dat hij ook wel kapot zat. En denk oké, dan ga ik nog eens een keer een ronde volle bak door. En toen heb ik eigenlijk nog een keer alles gegeven op die klimmetjes. En toen kon ik het weer 4-5 seconden uitbouwen. En toen wist ik wel dat hij ook niet op zijn gemak zat.
Dankjewel, Lars van der Haar.
Nice interview by Lars van der Haar. Yeah, there's no doubt whatsoever. He is feeling good, and he's back, and he's strong. For a rider so young, when you have those issues with illness and injury, you'll notice last time he had his left leg a little bit strapped up, then the doubts can start to creep in and the form can ebb away. But this rider, without doubt, he has got so much maturity, and he is so confident. It's great to see him back on top form. Here we are then at the podium, a very noisy podium indeed. The Belgian fans cheering for Kevin Powers again. Now, of course, if the unthinkable happened and Kevin Powers didn't score any points in the next round, then it would all be on countback, taken on first and second places. And so far, Kevin Powers has 2 firsts, 2 seconds. Van der Haar has 2 firsts, 1 second, and a 4th. So right now, we are heading to Ugaida with Kevin Powers looking to just score 1 point, and he would be the winner.
Cyclo-Cross op deze tweede kerstdag 2014 te Heusden-Zolder, circuit van Zolder. Onze elites hebben hun wedstrijd erop zitten. eindigt op de derde plaats. Hij komt uit Nederland, Koen van Kessel.
Koen van Kessel, a very popular rider, makes his way onto the podium. There he is. But listen to the reception for Kevin Pauwels.
En de winnaar van deze wedstrijd is Nederlands kampioen, is de winnaar van vorig jaar. Dames en heren, een applaus voor Heusden-Zolder.
Lars van der Haar is the winner of this cyclocross here in Zolder.
Door Sophie en door Leen.
Plenty of Dutch fans here for the Belgians going nuts.
Kevin Pauwels en ook Ellen is erbij om bloemen te geven aan de winnaar. En dat mag allemaal met uw applaus gebeuren, dames en heren.
There's your podium then in Zolder, the 5th round of the World Cup. Lars van der Haar, Kevin Pauwels and Koen van Kessel.
Nederlandse volkslied, het Wilhelmus.
Now the national anthem of the Netherlands. Scintillating speed and technical ability wins Lars van der Haar today's round in Zolder. Back-to-back victories for him on this famous motor race circuit. So the next round is on the 25th of January in Heusden-Zolder. Join us there in the Netherlands, and of course we move on from there to the World Championships. Thanks very much for joining me. From Anthony McCrossan, a very Merry Christmas to everybody. And look forward to speaking to you again now in Heusden-Zolder. Bye for now.
En ook felicitaties gaan volgen vanwege Koen van ProCycling.be, organisator van dit evenement hier op Cyclo-Cross World Cup.